and welcome to episode of Master. I'm pretty sure it's episode 60 of Masters of the Forge, but we're kind of recording a little out of order here. But I have with me Jason and James Stagg. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hello, everybody.
Hola. And we're here to talk about The Beast Arises, The Emperor Expects. This is the first time I've read a Gav Thorpe novel.
Really?
Yep. First Gav Thorpe novel. I haven't read one yet. Well, and the first one was my first Dan Abnett album. Did I say album or novel? Whatever.
Laid down that was my tracks, so either's fine.
That was my first Dan Abnett novel, too. So I'm kind of getting my firsts in here.
You know it's a Dan Abnett novel when you read the first page and you just like, wait, what? And then you go back and you read it again.
I've noticed that they are three between these two guys and David Annandale. We have three drastically different writing styles, and you can tell.
Yes.
Dan Abnett is he's like, he has no compunctions about adverbs and adjectives, and David Annandale is like, What's an adverb? I don't even know. And then in between we have Gavin who uses them. You know, he uses them when he needs them. When he wants to kind of like when he wants to describe something without being too wordy, they can be useful. So I think it's interesting. You got that kind of difference there in the technical side. And I'm not saying any of them are bad. I'm just saying it's interesting.
Yeah, Dan Abnett, like the whole in media res things, he's like, the reader doesn't need to know what's going on. It's good. Just go.
I like
trying to read the first book in the Heresy. Like, I remember the day I killed the Emperor. Like, wait, what?
Yeah.
This is how we're starting?
Yeah, that first line from that first book of the Horus Heresy always still catches me. Like, when you mentioned it, I knew exactly what book you were talking about because when I first read it, it kind of stunned me.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
and then why don't we start off another brand new series and have the main protagonist and the main antagonist have the same exact name? How could that be confusing?
Yay!
Fantastic. So, oddly enough, I've already recorded an episode this week. I've already kind of given some of my hobby progress, but I am still working on the Blue Orcs. As of this recording. But we're having a good time. I think I'm going to have them done for July.
That's the thing with orcs. You think they're finished, and you look back, and they're like three more of them on the table.
Right? So, James, since you won't have been on the show when we record this, what have you been up to?
We actually have our first Rogue Trader style tournament.
Nice.
It's an ITC event here on Hawaii Island in Kona.
Uh-huh.
So my three main gamer buddies and I are scrambling to finish tables and finish all the setup for that.
Uh-huh. That's cool.
I've been doing pretty much hours and hours of dry brushing this morning. Mm-hmm. It turns out Walmart craft paint, white paint doesn't go over black primer in one shot, which is
nice. The Walmart, the apple barrel, right? That stuff, yeah. I mean, it's really inexpensive, and I use it for a lot of stuff. The unfortunate part is the pigment and whatever kind of, like, thickener they use, they separate when you make a wash out of them. So, like, you get white flecks all over your model when you make a wash out of their paint. So you can't use it for that purpose, but it's good for other stuff. Don't shoot it through an airbrush, for God's sake. That's terrible.
I'm pretty much just dry brushing large GW buildings and over large areas of gravel, so it's no big deal.
Other than that,
God, the spray paint has been a fiasco too. I had this perfect color, and I ran out of it halfway through doing at the last table. Go to the art store to get more. They don't carry that brand anymore, so pick up a different one. Turns out the new ones they have are like supremely hydrophobic. So like spray one and then go to use the wash I have on it, does not stick to it at all. Just like beads on top of it. Switch to a different type of Krylon, paint that, run out of that halfway through, go to the store, they don't have that one. Had to switch to another paint. Is too like I think I've bought probably like 10 cans of spray paint in the last week and a half.
Oh my god,
it's just not working out for me.
That is terrible. And well, let's switch to this one. It's cheaper. There's a reason it's cheaper. You get what you pay for.
Well, no, the one that was hydrophobic that I bought, it's a really nice. It's like a Tagger spray paint basically, but I didn't realize it was oil based. So it's like, go to spray paint, like, oh, nice coverage, good color, everything. Put that wash on it, just runs right off. Oh no!
Oh,
what have I done?
Well, I mean, sometimes you want that. You could put a flat clear coat over it. That should take care of business if you want it to stick a little better.
And that always works well when you have 4,000% humidity.
Oh God, yeah, you're right.
Oh yeah.
Yep. There's that. You live in paradise. I live in paradise.
It's enough to test even the tester's dull coat.
Oh,
and
really?
That stuff is like Zeus's sweat or something. It's perfect.
It's so
except
great.
for here.
Oh man, that is brutal. So again, since we're so far in the future here, I think maybe why don't we take some of this intro to actually discuss 1 hour a night in more depth and detail. I think that might be a good idea because I think people hear about it and it can be, just like anything else, you get whatever you put into it or you take out of it whatever you want. And if all it is to you is you go on and post your 1 hour every night or every few nights and or your 350 or 365 hours a year or whatever, and you get feedback and you give feedback, then great. That is fantastic. Do that. But there are other pieces to it that engage people, and I think maybe it might be a good idea to talk about those components that that the fun stuff that you're doing with it that other people, even people who are engaged in it, might not really understand or know about.
Yeah, there's so many people and so many posts now that even if I post something up about what's going on, it usually gets buried fairly quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'd say right now the two main things. Yes, there are actually three. We have a similar hobby, similar to the Independent Characters Hobby Progress Challenge challenge going on. It's make a declaration and then paint a unit, or there are a couple different types of things, a piece of terrain or whatnot, every month, and then you get credit for that. And then at the end of the year, there's a raffle. It's just completely random. I have a bunch of different like little prizes from sponsors. So we're going to give one away for the main raffle, and then there'll probably be one for like the hardest completed commitment or the most completed commitments, things like that.
Last year I got Japanese candy cigarettes.
Oh, that was something totally spur of the moment. I just happened to go on vacation to Japan and picked up a bunch of stuff. Now that I think about it, you actually got Table War dice last year that I haven't gotten you yet.
I could have gone to England and screamed Table War as I was rolling my dice. Man, dropping the ball.
I think
and people
they just tend to fall out of the pockets of Doug and Todd, though. So if you hang out enough with them, you'll end up with a set of the dice.
And the challenge is also part of the Hobby Progress Challenge. If you do the two challenges concurrently, you can get points in the Independent Characters Challenge for doing 1 hour a night. So if you're in both and you don't know that, go ahead and check it out on the Independent Characters forums under the Hobby Progress Challenge section, and you'll see what we're talking about.
Yeah, we had the continuation of our CAD and a quarter from last year.
Have I painted enough stuff for that yet, or should I paint more?
I haven't been keeping track of exactly what type of units you painted, because it's not the number of models. It's you got to finish a fast attack, an elite, a heavy support, a piece of terrain, and a Lord of War this year, and then you get an extra point for the Independent Characters.
James,
have you done terrain?
I
haven't seen any terrain.
The answer is yes.
I haven't seen you do any. What terrain did you do?
Oh, shoot. I haven't done any terrain. God.
Yeah, you have. Zone
See,
Mortalis.
That's how they
that's right. I did an entire Zone Mortalis
That's a
board.
feeble. That doesn't count.
What? It's not a fortification. I have to paint a fortification. Like, Wendy, I need to buy a fortification. I don't know. She heard me.
Since my visit to your house is already completed, you can blame that one on me.
Yeah, that's funny. You're right. I have to build a fortification to complete my cat and a quarter. I guess we'll do that. So,
second and or third exciting one is the Cromlech giveaway.
Wait, there's a Cromlech giveaway? I didn't know this.
Yeah, we have added Cromlech as a sponsor this year, and seeing as how devoted I am to them, as soon as they looked in the group and saw all the posts that I had done, they were willing to be a bit more generous than the other sponsors. So we're doing 2 small giveaways of like kind of Cromlech grab bags. So it's mid-year, so anybody that's completed all their commitments from January to June has a chance at the first bag, and then once you've completed all your commitments from July to December, you have a chance at the second bag. So it's basically just for the people that are doing the HPC that have a perfect record.
That is great. Now, be sure to I recuse myself from any prizes like that. Just it would not be cool if I won any of that.
If Adam wins it through the random drawing, then I'll donate it to some orphans.
Yeah, there we go. That's good. That's a good idea.
Uncle James, this resin tastes funny. Let's put some soy sauce on it. Put some soy sauce on it.
Jason, don't die.
I'm trying.
Don't die. Stop it.
At least not until we finish the Emperor.
Yeah.
The Emperor Expects podcast.
Yeah, we do. At least do that.
I'd have to edit it.
Well, that's cool. That's a lot of fun. Wasn't there also one for painting or for doing up like a table ward tray or something?
Yeah, we didn't get enough participants. Todd wanted to give away a mini case, but only if we got 10 entries, and we only got, I think, like 4.
Right,
so,
right. Yeah, you know what? Not everybody. You're talking about a segment of the community, and then a segment of that segment, and then so it's hard.
Sure,
it's tough.
It's a niche within a niche within a niche.
Yeah,
but it is kind of funny. I'm not sure if Justin. I don't have a good Spanish accent. Del Val or Del Valle, whatever, however you pronounce his last name, I'm not sure. I actually met him at the LVO. He's a super cool guy. We went out to dinner with him and his buddy Zeus. But I'm not name. Justin. If you listen to this, I want you to know that you ruined it because you did such a good job on your tray that I had a number of people ask me if it was random or if it was based on quality. And when I said quality, they're like, "Oh, that corn tray is going to win. Never mind." And they didn't even participate.
That's funny. That's when you tell them it's random and then pick on quality.
Yeah.
No, don't do that. I'm just kidding.
Amazing. He had like a you seen the movie Beetlejuice, yeah?
Yeah.
He had like a Beetlejuice, like it looked like the fireplace after the ghost took over the house, like the really off-center kind of Stonehenge looking thing. He had one of those in the background with a portal, and it was all full of blood, and then the blood letters sat in it. Oh, such a cool tray.
Sandworms, I hate them. It's fantastic. That's
according to the newspaper, their attacks are on the rise.
Jason, what have you? The funny part about this is that I still don't think you're gonna be on an episode until this releases. So,
yeah,
why don't you tell the listeners what you've been up to?
All right, so this is episode 60. I think we just recorded 55 or 56, whatever.
This is going to be 60?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm going out of town for part of July, so I can't host. I can edit, but I can't host.
Thank Christ. I don't know.
Yeah. Because the laptop I'll be using is extremely noisy, and you guys don't want to hear me talking over a fan. So, since the last time I was on, I've spent about 5 days in New York City, so I haven't had a chance to do any hobby. I think I played one game the Monday before last, but I cannot remember anything about it. I know I played. I just don't remember who I played now.
See, that's what happens when you just play, you just show up at the club and play without a narrative in mind. You don't
without
remember
having
the
the
games.
conversation.
Yeah, we've been doing League the past few weeks, which is fun.
Oh yeah,
Team League, but we're doing all like these weird random pairings, and we're just throwing down dice, and it's fun. It's super fun, but it's like, oh, I don't even remember that game. But if all the games we've had with like a narrative bent, I can tell you most of the stuff that happened in our last when we did scenario 4 of the Forges of Garok campaign. That's for sure.
That's basically the rallying cry for the narrative guys that did their event at Las Vegas Open, right? You don't remember that tournament game, but the one time that your Grot Blaster takes down a Hive Tyrant in a game that you set up specifically, with the armies in mind, you'll remember that for the rest of your life.
Oh wait, Adam, I was with you on this one. I think so, because my Tylus Rubio Kit Bash was scored like winning points. Like I think either we had tied or we were going to win. It was against Mike and who else? Who was Mike teamed with? Okay, I don't remember. But I remember the Rubio actually did pretty well. He grabbed an objective, stayed there, didn't get killed, and we got 2 extra points.
Oh yeah, that's right. When that was when I'm like, it was John. It was John with his Space Marines, and I kept on shooting my bubble chucka at his Terminators and kept getting like Strength 6 AP 6. They're so bad. They're so bad.
That was it.
And then I was also getting Strength 1, AP 1 on some of the guys, too. It was great.
Yeah.
Orcs.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was pretty good.
That was a fun game. It was a little odd. I mean, we just kept... It was those sorts of things happening all the time.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, it was all over. Well, we in that list, I have like 3... I have like 3 or 4 of the random orky units, so... It's not surprising.
Oh, we played Maelstrom also.
Oh, yeah, clearly.
And because I think I was running 2 giant blobs of OBSEC, they had problems knocking me off of objectives.
Yeah, that'll do her.
That's right, and Rubio didn't show up until turn 4 because I cannot roll reserves sometimes. Which is why he lived as long as he did. I mean, he was there... Was it turn 6 that we ended, or turn 7?
No, I think 7, yeah. He did a good job, though.
Yeah, sometimes having them come in later in those long games can be useful.
Yeah.
The last game I played, my opponent's Storm Raven with 5 Blood Angel Tactical Marines and Mephisan didn't come in until 4th turn, and then it's like I'm just like sweating through turn 5 and turn 6 because he's just ripping things apart because I didn't have very much shooting left at that point. It's like you can't beat Mephiston in close combat. You gotta shoot him off the table. But it's like take some bolters. Oh no.
Yeah, if you can leave a key unit in reserve and tie up all the shooting with assault, then reserves aren't so bad. It's when you leave like everything in reserve and the army you have on the table can't handle what your opponent has on the table. Then you're like, I kind of wish I had that thing that's not here right now.
Yeah.
All right. So cool. That's what we've been up to, and I guess we'll take a quick break and come back and start talking about The Emperor Expects. Greetings, mofo's.
Are you out of George Dickel number 8, staring at a broken chess machine?
Don't want to spend the rest of the year tied to that couch?
Well, why don't you head on over to the 1 Hour a Night Facebook page and see what exciting stuff is going on there. It's a place to post all your daily progress in the hobby grind, as well as receive and give positive feedback. Also, there are usually a few interesting challenges going on.
That's right. All you have to do is search for 1 Hour a Night on Facebook. That's numeral 1 Hour a Night, all one word. Blood serum tests will be administered prior to approval.
Sett til helvete og kom dere vekk. Det ikke bikkje, det en slags ting. Den imiterer bikkje, men det ikke det. Kom dere vekk, idioter!
What he said. Hey, Masters of the Forge listeners, are you looking to expand your Warhammer 40,000 gaming group?
Do you want to start a 40k club in your area?
Do you want the people you attract to be like-minded mofos?
Do you want to advertise your YouTube channel?
Or even attract more subscribers to your hobby blog or online community?
Then what better way than to advertise on the Masters of the Forge podcast?
All we ask of you is that you email us at mastersoftheforge@gmail.com or message us on Facebook with a full text of your advertisement, including the region in which you live and any contact information people can use to get a hold of you.
We will have one of our many tech servitors read your advertisement on the air. We promise not to make fun of you.
Though we can't always predict the actions of our servitors, you really can't find good help these days.
No, you can't. Welcome back. So, what happened up to this point? We're looking at the galaxy is in deep doo-doo with the beast, with his Death Stars all over the galaxy. And
well, if you think the galaxy is in deep doo-doo at this point already, then we have some unfortunate news for the listeners. It only gets worse.
Excellent. And we have the Imperium in turmoil, political turmoil, social turmoil, and we have one Imperial fist remaining in the galaxy. So it's been pretty rough, been pretty grimdark. And I'm not going to say I'm not enjoying it, so I guess I'm a bit of a sadist.
Yeah, sometimes it's good to root for the underdog. Want to see orcs have their day,
right? Who doesn't, right?
I can't wait from the orc perspective book. It's got to happen, right?
They always, GW and Black Library has asserted them as the antagonists, and it's so hard to get anything from their perspective. I assume it's on purpose. I've always wanted to see that, but I don't know.
Because they don't want to write in Cockney. Is that why?
I think they're afraid to write in a to write in a sophisticated manner when referring to orcs, because that'll kind of ruin the feel of the race, I guess. I don't know.
This also might be a case of be careful what you wish for, because here's our new from the orc perspective novella. The whole thing's written in Cockney. It's impossible to read. Oh, this is so difficult.
There are footnotes in actual text.
A translation primer.
Yeah.
First chapter.
So let's start on Terra, shall we? I think that's one of the more interesting places to begin. Because it kind of gets some of the hoity-toity maneuvering out of the way. And there is a lot of hoity-toity maneuvering going on in this book throughout the book, not just on Terra.
A lot of characters, too, on Terra.
There are a lot of characters, and I'm going to refer to a lot of characters in this book as that guy, because I'm not going to remember all their names. So Vangarich and Venan are basically... They've kind of joined forces a little bit. They've decided, listen, let's stop. Let's just back off each other for a little bit, and let's take care of the Imperium. Venan doesn't want Vangarich butting his nose in and ruining her plans, but at the same time, he's useful. And
yeah, you kind of get a view of him as a bit bumbling as far as the politicking going. Like, there's no question that he can kill whoever he needs to kill, but the scene where Lansing is, kind of laying out his plans, Vangarich is trying to maneuver him into getting him off Terra, and he's just so easily destroyed in the conversation.
Yeah, and it's so obvious that he's trying to do it, right?
Kind of bummed me out.
Yeah, and it's hard when you and I think he's also, Gav Thorpe is also trying to express how hard it is for one person on their own to maneuver things away in a different direction in that council meeting. If Venan hadn't shown up at that meeting, she was not there to back him up.
It also sets up exactly how much Lansing has accumulated too much power to himself, where there are no checks and balances. Like, he has enough people on his side supporting him that if you're not with him, you're gonna end up in the shitter. So everybody is trying to go with him and help him out.
Oh yeah,
it's not the way the Senate's supposed to work.
No, and Vangarich does not. He's very disappointed. You can tell how disappointed Vangarich is in his peers by how they're bowing and scraping and not being helpful.
I do like how Vangrich keeps who he is and what he is in focus all times.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first thing he thinks of when he sees Lansing is how much weight he's lost due to the stress. So he makes a note that he'll have to adjust the dosage for poisons.
Oh yeah, that one was really funny.
That's the churchy dude. What's his name?
Well, he poisoned Mesring in the last book, but he notes it for
for
Lansing as
future
well.
poisonings.
Yeah, in case he has to poison him. Yeah,
Right. Okay.
Contingency plan.
he notices how his skin's hanging a little bit.
Yeah. Yep. And, I noticed while reading this that the Vangerich is, in reading these things, you kind of learn how they're written. And Vangerich is absolutely this outsider who's in the know that is absolutely perfect as a narrator for what's going on.
Yeah.
He's out of the know enough for us to have questions in our minds about what's happening, like the actions that are happening. But when we see things happen, he's smart enough to know what they mean, and through his eyes, we can learn why things happen the way they do. And I think having Vangerich there as a vehicle for that for explaining these things is absolutely fantastic. Everything down to how much he resents everybody and how worried he is about what's happening. All of that is perfect for explaining why things are happening the way they do and why they're happening the way they are. And I think it's kind of masterful, actually, the way these authors have used him as that vehicle.
Yeah, any of the other, well, I guess he's not a High Lord, but any of the other High Lords, they would have had probably too much of an insight into what's going on and having wheeled and dealed. But Vangerich, not now being a minor lord, not even in the 12, he's kind of kept out of everything. He's not part of it, so we get to learn it as he does.
Yep. Yeah, it's just absolutely perfect. Not only that, it's a character that many people in the nerd community can kind of feel an empathy for because of his outsider status. So there are many things about the character that make him good for this task. I want to move on. I want to change gears a little bit here before we go on with what's happening on Terra, because something happens aboard the Imperial it's not a Grand Cruiser, it's a battleship Colossus. The Colossus is awesome. It's one of those
it's an Oberon class ship. I noted that just because it sounded cool.
It is cool. It's the battleship that has fighter bays, has launch bays, it has lances, and it has batteries. So it's a very well-rounded ship. It's a very big ship. It's definitely got a lot of status. And it's captained by a character named Captain Kulik, and he is joined by his first lieutenant, Saul Schaffenbeck. And I love this relationship. This is a great relationship. I hope these guys aren't dead. Because there's a little vague at the end there. But Schaffenbeck is older and more experienced than Kulik. But he still maintains this lower rank. And at first you think they have an acidic relationship, at least for me. When I first read it, I thought, oh, these guys are going to be butting heads the entire time. They have different approaches, but I think it's more like Schaffenbeck knows his station, and he plays that station well. And at one point, Kulik refers to him as like a mother or a grandmother, where he wants Kulik to kind of engage with other people, and he kind of makes decisions for him, and every once in a while, just to get him to do things he needs to do. And Kulik recognizes it's stuff that he has to do. He just would have never initiated it himself.
Yeah, they have a kind of give and take as far as responsibility goes too. Though I love how every time Schaffenbeck swears or blasphemes fairly frequently, and Kulik always calls him out on it.
Yes,
There's a little bit of a little bit of comedy in there.
Yeah,
like, by the Emperor, and he just immediately, like, without even thinking about it, just responds like, don't blaspheme.
At the end of the book, he's like, he didn't have time to correct him on his language.
Yeah.
That was great. Yeah, good.
You instantly get the feeling that these two have been working together for a long time.
Oh, absolutely. There's one point in the book where Schaffenbeck walks in, and it's like the very beginning. Schaffenbeck walks in, and they just look at each other and convey an entire conversation. And it's amazing, and it's not campy. If you read, if the listeners read it, you'll know that it was handled very well. Gav Thorpe did a really great job with those. I love those characters. I think they're great.
We get a little more of a peek into non-war related imperial matters on Terra as well. They when they're celebrating, and I don't know if you guys made a note of this, but I love this type of stuff. But they're celebrating, and both Schaffenbeck and Kulik are both drinking, and they have some Neo-Scotian whiskey that has the seal of the Distillarius Superior on it.
Yeah, I didn't catch that it was how it was pronounced. Didn't click in my head, but that's really funny.
I love those little glimpses, and the faux Latin, of course, is amazing. But.
Oh God, I love it. So you guys are gonna have to help me out here, because at this point we get to like okay, we have our captain. He's cool. He's layered. He's got lots of layers. He's a good character. When he's described, you can tell things about him. Like he doesn't wear any of his decorations. He could. The man is a captain of a battleship, which there aren't a lot of. And the man obviously has decorations, but he wears none. And we have Schaffenbeck, who is clearly an interesting character just by what we talked about. And then they walk into a party where, if I were watching this as a movie, I'd be like, oh, look at all the old wrinkly Caucasians whose names I'm never going to remember. Right? So, we start dealing with admirals and captains and stuff, and they the Schaffenbeck basically invites the admiral. Which one is it? Do you guys remember which admiral it is? Was it
Admiral Price is Schaffenbeck and Kulik's superior,
and he ends up shacking up on the ship too, right?
Yeah, he's the admiral of the Rimward flotilla, and they paint him to be, Kulik has utmost respect for him. He's level-headed and everything, and then they juxtapose him against Admiral Akaria, who just acts like a total douche.
yeah. He's Akaria is a little one-dimensional, not an important character though, so that doesn't bother me so much.
He's the big plot device, basically.
Yeah, he is exactly. So. What kind of happens is, I'm just going to say I believe that there are some inquisitional entanglements going on here, causing this move by Schaffenbeck.
It's to the point where I'm not sure how the timing would work out exactly, but there's a chance that the Inquisitor that we'll meet later, Veritas, one of his interrogators, Mac Tannen, there's a chance that Akaria might actually even have been impersonated by Mac Tannen.
Oh. You know what? I was actually thinking that it was Venon's machinations that caused. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's either Venon's work or Akaria himself has been replaced.
Right, by the what's her name again?
Mac Tannen. I think it's one of Veritas's interrogators.
Right,
but again, right. Like you said, Venon knew a lot about it, so it's probably her doing. But
well, at any rate, they're kind of talking about what I don't remember what the impetus of him jumping into the making the leap to assault the
At Sanctus.
The Sanctus Reach, yeah.
Yeah,
Port Sanctus. Port Sanctus and Sanctus
Sanctus
Reach are
Reach.
totally two different things.
Yeah.
To assault Port Sanctus, I know that like it had to do with like positioning and glory and whatever, but it was clear that the plan that Langston had in mind was to split the orc forces and force them to fight on multiple fronts. Like take that giant orc mass and split it into manageable chunks. Whereas
we don't get it from Macarius' perspective.
Macarius. Oh, we don't. Okay, so
Price basically just stacks it up to him wanting to be there first to get all the glory, and then even if he loses, it looks like Price didn't support him, and then if he wins, it looks like he took the initiative and he gets all the glory, even if Price is the one that cleans up and helps him.
Right, and when Langston finds this out, he has the same thought. It's like oh, and that's where we get on Terra at a meeting where they're talking about, okay, they're in the strategium and they're trying to decide what they're gonna do. Venan smacks the table.
Venan gets to shine.
She's like, yeah, well, what about this part of your fleet that's going to Port Sanctus shipyards? What's this all about? He's like,
you
what?
knew this was happening, right?
Yeah,
right.
We knew that was happening. Oh, it's fantastic. And it's all still from Vangarich's perspective, which is the best because he's watching her just tear him down. And he has to...
Lansing declares that they're going to take the Navy and strike another blow, and then everybody's clapping, but Vangarich is looking at Venan clapping.
Yep, and she smiles at him just a little bit like, yeah, I did that, what?
Yeah. Clapping's not for Lansing.
Nope. And Langston decides, okay, he says, yeah, I was going to save the surprise, but I'm personally leading the battle into Port Sanctus, and we're going to take the shipyards, and that will be our beachhead.
The whole petulant child, like I've just been completely destroyed by Venan, but I can't let it seem like she won. So you ruined my surprise. I guess I'll tell him now.
Oh, so good, so good. Unfortunately, this kind of bites Venan in the butt. Venan and Vangarich want breathing room. They want Langston out of there to stop him from collecting more and more and more and more power, right? And what happened? Langston left and came back victorious, basically. Right? So they didn't really do much, and they lost a lot in the process. Venan, part of a subplot here is Venan is in deep kimchi with all the other various inquisitional factions, right?
One in specifically, Veritas.
Right, and he is Ordo. What is it?
Was it mentioned?
No, but he wears power armor and he's all awesome. So I'm assuming he's
he wears the power armor.
Malleus. Yeah, because he's broken,
old,
right?
Yeah,
he's super broken. But I thought that was an interesting kind of storyline, and we're really only allowed into the details a little bit. Does it expound upon that later in the series? The inquisitorial storyline.
Yeah, it kind of takes an unexpected turn in the next book.
All right, cool.
But yeah, you don't go too far into it because they don't you don't see the story through Venan's perspective too much compared to Vangarich.
I'm not surprised. I wouldn't expect... we get one good perspective from Venan in this, and that's her flight from her offices, where...
Her trying not to be assassinated by Veritas.
Trying not to be assassinated by Veritas, that's right. And who shows up to save
the best
the
character
day?
in the whole series.
Wire shows up, and he's been tailing her. This is part where I'm starting to get a little confused. I'm assuming he was there to tail her
Yeah,
under the orders of Vangerich. But
we get a short scene where Vangerich orders him to follow her, and he actually knows exactly where she's going to be because Vangerich and Venan had just finished a meeting.
Oh, right. Yeah. That's right. And he knows, like, the only other exit is over here, so he's... Yeah. Okay, I must have missed that part, but... Okay, good. So yeah, they try to assassinate her. They know where she's going to run to, and they have an assassin waiting there for her. But she does manage to squeak by, and I'm not sure what she's going to do, but it'll be interesting to see how that pans out.
The first thing is to hide, right?
The what?
The first thing is to hide.
Oh, yeah,
clearly. She establishes it so that they think that they killed her because they got her body double in her office.
Ah.
So she has until they scan it and don't find a chip or whatever identifying mark. She has they think that she's dead, so she'll have a little bit of breathing room.
Oh yeah, and Wire says he can take care of that. Actually,
yeah,
he can make. I don't know what he can do to adjust her gene tracing, but you know what, bro? I'll believe pretty much anything you can do.
Wire just shines again because when Venan's trying to escape, she's going through this huge line of pilgrims waiting to see an artifact in this Sanctum on Terra, and the assassins come after her in the crowd, and Wire just jumps out and he starts punching through rib cages and tearing out necks with his fingers. It's just brutal.
Hulk smash. So,
although we did have kind of a, I don't know if, probably not everybody watches Game of Thrones, but we did have a little bit of a moment between Beast Cruel and Venan's head interrogator Rendenstein. Like they just they give each other kind of looks and like do the smile. Okay, we got a little bit of budding respect and maybe something else.
Oh no. I don't, yeah, and here's the thing with him. I have this weird image in my mind of Beast Cruel in a bare fist fight with a massive orc.
Oh, it would be so good.
How great would that be? How great would that be? That would be pretty great, actually.
Oh, man. I hope they make like a Forge World model for him or something.
Oh, how cool would it be? I would love to see that.
They start the 32K series.
So meanwhile, we have Captain Corland, and he's still with the Mechanicus briefly. We have a few interesting moments here, like, for example, when Magos biologist Laurentis is showing, intuition, and he seems very different than even when he was before the operations to fix him. He's got like spider legs and he's all weird.
It's now mostly machine.
It was like that. It was the extra weird like tripod 3 legs just to make it seem even more inorganic.
Yeah.
Like if it was 4 legs, it would have still been balanced, but 3 legs, that's just really unnatural.
But Corland actually kind of reflects that Laurentis seems more human than he was before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. And that relationship is that's another awesome relationship in this series because of how they treat each other. Like, at one point, Laurentis asks why Corland would defend him the way he did. And Corland
threatens Van Alken.
Oh, yeah, like straight up threatens him. And
you want to go floating through space, I think he says.
Yeah. And Corland's like, you are the last thing, the next closest thing I have right now to a battle brother. And that's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. And it's clear that Laurentis sees Corland as more than just a curiosity as well. So I think that's really cool. I think it'll be cool to see how they progress in the series. Now, it was already cool to see that they were both perfectly willing to conspire with each other to
hijack a ship.
Hijack a spaceship. I thought that was
They're
great.
just borrowing it. They're just borrowing it.
Oh, that poor lieutenant.
I know.
He gets like the the Bane treatment from the Batman, the Christopher Nolan Batman series. Is like, I'm in command here, and Corlin just looks at him like, what part of this situation makes you think that you're in command?
Especially right after, Corlin basically is another great social. I'm starting to think Gav Thorpe is the go-to man for these kind of interactions, because he does a great job of tapping into the social situation of the captain and his ship and his men. And how Corlin taking over at that point in front of his men diminished him enough where his men will realize, well, yeah, I guess we know who's in charge now. But once that's done, once Corlin has his agreement and his understanding, he agrees not to do that again.
It's right back to the respect.
Yeah.
Although you got to give the lieutenant's name was Grey Dove, but you got to give his first mate props though, because in the beginning when Corlin was starting it, he actually he went to pull his sidearm. Corlin looked at Grey Dove. He's like, "Better tell your man to secure that weapon. I wouldn't want to hurt him."
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Oh,
I also
Jason.
love just the supreme confidence, like. When Laurentis gets on the ship, he immediately just goes down on the warp drive and starts booting up the warp drive. So Corlin's on the deck with Grey Dove. He's like, "Wait, what? The warp drive's been powered up. What are you talking about?" And Corlin's like, "We're going to fall."
Yeah, it was already warmed up.
Not even waiting for a signal. Just this is the way it's going to happen.
Especially like after he warns Laurentis. Well, he may not be a Magos, but he's in charge down there. He's like, "Yeah, okay, bro."
Yeah, that was another really good foil to just show the difference between the human side of the Imperium and Mars, right? Mm-hmm. Just Corlin and Grey Dove have to argue, but in the beginning, Laurentis is just like, the ship isn't big enough to have a high enough ranking tech priest. Like, I'm the ranking officer on this ship; he'll understand, and that's the end of it. There's no back and forth.
Nope. That's just the way it is. That's great. I love it. And they talk to the. They talk to the astropath and send out the signal, the last wall, which apparently is when the Imperial Fist decide we need to be a legion again.
It's heresy. That's what it is.
It's super duper heresy. It's like super duper dodecahedron heresy, and to realize that it's been there the whole time ever since the second founding was created is hilarious. I love it.
This type of thing is such a great bridge between the Horus Heresy and 40K.
Yep.
You get both in this series of books.
You do.
You have your chapters, then you have the Legion.
Yeah, and it's great to know that Dorn. I don't know. I haven't read any of those books. I don't know if you guys have or not, but.
I've read just a handful of them, but just from what I have read, this seems really out of character for Dorn. I don't know if he kind of changes. I've only read like the first 8 books or something like that, but he was full on the directions tell me to drive 30 miles straight ahead. I'm going into the ocean, but I'm following the directions.
Right.
Like, for him to set up something like this I was surprised by it.
I guess there was such a schism when it came to this
within the Legion
for the second founding. Yeah, it seems interesting. He the fact that he acquiesced to it. He was one of the he was against it a great deal, but he did acquiesce to it eventually. But he didn't quite trust it even after agreeing to it and set up this secret way for the Legion to get back together again.
Maybe this is what let him find that compromise.
Yeah, and I don't know. I wonder if Robot Girly Man knew that it was happening. I don't know. It's a very interesting question.
Well, I think it's interesting is that a few episodes ago we talked about the Dark Angels and how they've split into all these chapters, but not really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
This is kind of that
yeah.
same thing.
it is.
Yeah, it does seem that the chapters that have some overriding purpose set this up. For the Imperial Fist, it's the defense of Terra. For the Dark Angels, obviously, it's hunting the Fallen. Like, you kind of gotta wonder if they did it just because they had that focus, or if the other chapters are gonna end up with it too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if the Imperial Fist say the last wall, like, I wonder what it would be for the Ultramarines, right? I don't know.
Right.
Tea time or something like that.
Yeah, and or just the Ultramarines are the only ones who didn't even think of that. Like, wait, everybody's a Legion again? Wait, what happened? Didn't you guys all agree to this? Like, no, not. I mean, yeah, but not really.
Right? Like, you go to the poker game, you don't know who the sucker is.
Like Blood Angels. Oh, we found a way to resurrect Sanguinius. Oh, really? Okay, we'll all be there to give our blood or whatever nonsense ritual is
We're all
required.
getting magic tattoos or something.
Yeah, we're all getting magically bloodletted to bring back Sanguinius or whatever. Or bring back the Emperor and stop the Red Thirst from happening or whatever. I'm sure we can come up with multiple excuses for all the legions to reform in the same way that they do in this book.
And they're the ones that never broke apart to begin with, right?
Yeah. So it's pretty cool. They all get together with the Fist Exemplar, the Black Templars,
Excoriators,
yeah. It's pretty cool. And I don't remember too much from the conversation that happens, except that I was rather surprised. Cornland was so concerned about what was going to happen, and they kind of got pretty easy agreement, actually. Don't you think?
Yeah, he was expecting some ramifications, and it wasn't. Once the situation, well, like him explaining the situation was such a great scene because he's like shaking and he does the whole like I'm the last one, and they're like, oh well, that's not a big deal. We just get a hold of some of the other companies, and he's like no. You don't understand me. Like, I'm the last one. Dead silence.
Yeah, that was pretty. I'm sure that was rather stunning to them. That does make a lot of sense as to why they would be so ready to agree.
And all of them individually have been fighting these orcs anyways. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true, and a lot of them are so far flung and wrapped in other campaigns that they won't be able to make it, at least not yet. And from what I understand...
Have you read the next book?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. From what I understand, everybody else is going to be pretty much involved anyways, so that's fine.
Was it the Iron Fists, I think? Was one of their chapters? No, not Iron Fists. Iron Knights, maybe? Yeah, there's one other Imperial Fist chapter that isn't present here.
Uh-huh.
But we get to see them.
Cool. Yeah. So the meeting goes really well, and we get the impression that they're gonna work up a number 6 on the orcs if they get a chance, and I'm sure we'll see more of that in the future.
Yeah, this book was really Space Marine light.
Yeah, and I'm glad for it. I'm glad for it. I really liked the politics. I love the politics. That's like my favorite part. Reading about Imperial society and how it comes together.
My boy Bohemond was in it though.
Who?
The Imperial Black Templar Marshal.
Oh yeah. He's cool. He is cool. I can't wait to see him fight. So we get an awesome space battle, and it is pretty awesome. It's after my own heart. It was well described. Gav Thorpe talks about all the cool maneuvers and stuff, and what happens like in specific. I just loved it. It was. See, other people like bolter porn. I love spaceship porn. I love watching the spaceships and reading about what they're doing, and the cool the captains are and the admiral. Now beyond the awesome,
they do make one really good point about the naval combat though. Like the amount of willpower and courage it takes to be an officer on a naval ship is much different from being in the Astra Militarum. It's like commissars aside, if you're losing the battle, you can run away. They make a point. If you're losing a ship battle, you're not going to get away.
No.
Everybody, you win or you die in ship battles.
And it's not you win and you die. It's you win or everyone dies.
Yeah, right. The thousands of people under your command.
Yeah. It is interesting, and I would hate to project this onto real life at all, but still, like the branches of the military have this weird way of making fun of each other, but everybody knows that you could die tomorrow. No matter what branch you're in, and that goes same true for the Imperial Navy and the Astra Militarum. And I just loved these scenes, these space battles. They were fantastic. It really was candy for my imagination, and I quite enjoyed them. Now, if you guys could help me out with the kind of the politics of what happens here, I'm not entirely sure how it. So Admiral Langsam shows up, basically, right? Surprises everyone, and
well, Price first. Ikaria shows up first, immediately begins the attack. Price's ships, the ships from the Rimward Flotilla, show up piecemeal.
Yeah,
so when Price shows up, it's a huge shit show.
Yep.
They immediately start attacking. Things are going really bad, and then Lansing shows up.
Yep. Thank you. Yes, that's right. They start dribbling in, not only because of the way the warp is, but also because they weren't all ready.
Yeah, half of Price's ships had arrived at Lepidus, the orbital where everybody was supposed to be gathering. And half of them needed to be refitted or hadn't arrived when Ikaria began his jump.
And I loved how Gav Thorpe described, he was able to express how spread out they were by the fact that it took several seconds for transmissions to reach.
Yeah.
So when
physics,
yes. So the two admirals were yelling at each other. One would yell, and they would chat for a little bit on the ship, and then the other admiral would yell back, and they would chat a little bit more. It was great. It was so cool. But yeah, Langsam shows up and is like, "All right, I'm taking control of this." And he holds back.
He immediately sends Ikaria back to Lepidus too. He's like, he's talking to Price. Like he'll be lucky if he's piloting a garbage ship after this.
Yep. And he holds back Kulik's ship as well. He wants to save all of the small fighters and bombers for the assault on the moon. Clearly, how are you supposed to get a starship through those exhaust ports that go to the main reactor? Duh. So they clear out a bunch of the outer defenses and then push in at the very last with the any ships with carrier capabilities, and they are able to destroy the moon.
And I think I found my new favorite ship in the 40K universe.
Which one?
It's a Retribution-class battleship called the Unfriendly Encounter.
Yes! Yeah! There were some great names in there, weren't there?
So good.
There were some really good names. Oh, it was so fun. But yeah, they leave it off with the capital ships trying to break away from before the planet explodes. Or before the attack moon explodes, and clearly all the fighters, all the pilots die. They can't escape; they're not fast enough, and it's the Colossus is overtaken by the explosion, but it's still a little vague as to their status, because we are greeted with. A scene of Admiral Langston and his fleet arriving back on Terra to great fanfare and much to the chagrin of Vangrich and Venan, who have basically given Langston even more unilateral power.
Yeah, he gets all that power for all of like 4 pages, maybe.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, the end of the book, right?
Well, tell us what happens.
Lansing's there having his big fanfare and his parade, and he's giving his speech about how they finally destroyed one of the Orc attack moons, and coincidentally timed, some Navy fighters fly over him, and everybody's taking pictures, and then the ground starts shaking.
Mm-hmm.
Get a little bit of that reverse gravity. What's going on?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then you get like the summer blockbuster like style wow in the
Wow,
background. You get like the scrolling text across the bottom of the screen. Terra.
Bong. Yeah, so that's rough. That's gonna be
with,
there's gonna be a lot of dead people.
Yeah, we end up with an orc attack moon above Terra.
Yep, that's gonna be a lot of dead people. Having said that, though, where are the super duper space lasers on Terra or Luna? Like, don't you think there would be a super duper space laser? I just think there would be.
It would probably been a good idea.
Yeah.
Right, or you know, you could just assume that they're firing at full capacity and it's so insignificant that it's not even worth mentioning.
That's a good point. Maybe a super duper. Actually, when you have a moon in your orbit and you fire a super duper space laser on it, that's a great way for your planet to get destroyed by a giant moon crashing into it. That's a really good point. Thank you, gentlemen. Yes, that's a very, very good point. So I will take that as my excuse as to why no one's shooting a giant super duper space laser. Yeah, they're just like, oh, that would be really stupid if we did that because, yeah, reasons.
Yeah, I hope. I really do hope the Colossus makes a return because Price is set up as such a cool, or not Price. Kulik was set up as such a cool character. After Price just kind of loses it and he has to relieve him of command.
Yeah, he is a great guy. I forgot that. Yes, he does lose it, doesn't he? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Lansing's trying to set up an Ender style, kind of like Ender's Game style, like end game attack. Like it doesn't matter who's dying around you. Like you got to rush the moon right now. And Price is like, nope.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, Yep. Yeah. So the book was a lot of fun. Like I said, I really like all the political maneuvering. I love all the space battles.
Oh, right. There was one other little political thing when Vangritz is watching Lansing give his speech, and he notices that Veritas is now the rep. Venan's not there. And Veritas starts approaching Lansing, and he looks angry, so he thinks he's gonna attack him or yell at him. But they just kind of like smile at each other, and then he steps into place.
They shake hands.
There's a chance that Lansing and Veritas are in cahoots.
Right, and that's why you were saying earlier maybe it was Veritas's man that forced what's the other admiral to jump the gun.
Vianen specifically mentions that MacTannen is, they don't know where he is, and Vangritch lost track of him too.
Yep. So wow, that's like nesting dolls, plans within plans within plans, where Vianen thought she tricked him into tackling the battle himself, when in fact he actually did have that planned all along. Damn, he's good.
Well, there's a chance of it. I don't know,
dude. That sounds pretty. That sounds pretty. Sounds like that sounds pretty reasonable, actually. Wow, I hadn't thought of that. Jesus, that's crazy. Wow.
Who knows?
Who knows? But I don't know. That sounds pretty believable, dude. It really does. But yeah, you guys have read farther than me, so you might know better. But I don't know. Do you guys have anything else you want to say about the book?
One little thing, we finally get a mention of the Culexis temple as well, because when Venan goes to the Inquisitorial Conclave, they have the Octagon, right? Where the psychic powers are shut down, and then after that meeting, she says she thinks there's going to be conflict with Veritas. So when she's talking to Vangritch, she says, I think the assassin's name was Hirashi. It's like, the Hirashi and the Culexis Temple are ready. Oh, like, yay, more assassins!
Yeah.
Although Tybalt wasn't mentioned in this book, so I was kind of sad. But
oh, so good. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I really like the writing style. I think I'll be looking forward to the next Gav Thorpe Beast Rises book, which I think is actually coming out just before or just after this release. So I really like how they're writing these with
pretty much like in the beginning of the book, nobody in their individual scenes is connected, and then they tend to kind of come together towards the end. It really makes the story tick along quick, and it's also like, I don't know if this is something you think about when you read books, but they're really nice stopping points. Like, you're not going to have like 100 pages that are connected in one long thing where there's no clean place to stop. Here it's like, if you just got to read a chapter, you could just read that chapter and you're not left with a cliffhanger.
Yeah, it is rather episodic, and I appreciate that for what it is. I like the idea. I wish, I kind of, from a more practical perspective, I kind of wish it were less expensive to buy the whole series.
Yeah, I mean, I was like everybody else. When I finished the first book, I was like, "Wait, what?" And they aren't full size novels, but hey, you buy the whole thing, you get a discount, right?
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah. But other than that, I really can't complain about. I can't complain about it so far. I'm excited to read more, so I guess that says something about it. That's for sure.
But I really like how they're branching out into a completely untouched area of the story, and it's something that can have a really concise start and finish, unlike the Horus Heresy, where 15 years now or something like that, and they have a million books. Like, you have a 12-part 1-year series. You get a look at the Imperium that we haven't had before. Like, imagine how much they could flush out with this. Like, what was it? What was that guy's name? I can't remember 40K history, but if you read the Dark Heresy books, there's a whole bunch of scenes that they could do with that. Like Sebastian Thor, like his whole heresy and everything. Like, you could take something that's just a blurb in the rule book and make a huge series out of it and flush it out. I really hope this series is successful, if only for that reason.
I'd love to see more short ones like this. It reminds me of role-playing games where, if you have a campaign going, I've had this happen, where you have a definitive start and end point. It can be a bit easier to maneuver and easier to engage people than one where the campaign doesn't seem to ever end.
Just kind of dies.
And it just a lot of the time it just kind of peters out and dies. So I love how that there is a definitive like start and end here in sight, and we're gonna have the payoff of the finished series at the end of the year. I think that's gonna be wonderful, and I'm looking forward to reading the rest.
Yeah. I hope they continue on and flush out more.
Yeah. Hey,
it's like there's only so much you can write in the Heresy, and then when you flash forward to 40K, right? It's how many fractions of a second before midnight are we going to have?
Right, exactly. And at some point, you got to think, well, maybe Games Workshop and Blackwater Library need to get together and kind of have a palaver and ask the community, hey, listen, do you want to keep doing this with us, or should we just decide to go ahead and progress the storyline a little bit? I know that the concept of that happening seems a little crazy, but I think we might really be getting to a point where progressing the storyline isn't a terrible idea. Having said that, there's consequences for that, right? Yeah. A lot of people are... Not everybody is right about what's going to happen. So some people are going to be wrong, and those people might not like it. And
if only they could do like an old like comic book style what if series, right? Yeah.
Right. Oh, we're starting to get in that Dorney and Heresy territory again. Last episode we recorded, we mentioned the Black Templars. I gotta apologize to you for that, James. We don't talk about codexes or chapters that don't have their own codex.
Well, the next book, or the next book. I'm caught up now, but now we're going backwards as well. Mm-hmm. And one of the upcoming books, the Black Templars, they get to shine a bit, so they redeem themselves. I'm a fan again. Cool,
that's cool. So yeah, I hope folks enjoyed this chat. I think a lot of this talk goes into our month-long kind of discussion on the second founding as well. I think it really ties in great with the Beast Arises series and a lot of the chapters that we're dealing with here. So I really can't wait to talk more about this. I hope you all liked it. All right, well, I guess that's all we got to say about that. We're gonna take a break and then come back and close out the show.
Hey everyone, this is Justin from the It Will Not Die podcast. If you love listening to podcasts that are positive and excited about the hobby, come check us out. We're on the Freebooters Network now, along with other great podcasts like The Independent Characters, 40K Radio, D6 Generation, Nerd Herders, and many more. And remember, it doesn't matter how you love the hobby, just do it.
Nailed it.
NGC 40K, where the story meets the table.
Join the hosts at Pete's Bar as they explore the craft behind the models, the story behind the scenarios, and the camaraderie behind the game.
Listen to the podcast and join in the discussion at ngc40k.com.
All right, well, hey, again, thank you so much for joining us, James. I don't know, I freaking didn't have any notes for this episode for some reason. I thought I was gonna listen to the book twice, and that didn't happen. So the first time around, I was like, I'm just gonna paint. Second time around, I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna finish this. So I'm really glad I had you and Jason here to fill in the gaps of the details that I forgot.
No problem. It's always fun being on the show. You know, I gotta do something to keep the lights on until I get to move up in the big leagues and be on Life After the Cover Save. But Masters of the Forge is paying the bills for now. So,
dude, Life After the Cover Save is so great. It's the best show. You get a lot of cash for going on that show. By the way, your stipend. I mean, you get a huge portion of the advertising revenue for that show.
I heard they actually offer to pay to have you flown business class to California for the recordings.
Yeah, just for better sound quality, obviously. But I couldn't fit it into my schedule. You know, our sponsors get really pissed if episode comes in late, and I couldn't risk losing the revenue stream. So they don't.
You gotta do, right?
Yeah, exactly. We all make sacrifices. All right, everybody. I really appreciate everyone tuning in and listening. Please help us out by going on and giving us some iTunes reviews. Other than that, you can find us on Facebook or on mastersoftheforge.com and Twitter. Next week, I don't know what next week holds. Gav Thorpe did say he would be interested in having a conversation about this book and for the upcoming book. So if that happens, that episode will be next. If not, it'll be something else. But I do know, until then...
Play the game the way you want to.
Damn right.
This podcast is protected by the Creative Commons Attribution, No Derivatives, Non-Commercial, International License. More information about this license and contact information if you have any requests can be found at our blog, mastersoftheforge.com. The music used in this podcast was made by Podod of the duo Sublevel 3. The track is used with his permission.